Hey there, it's Stephanie Shea, Chief Astrologer for janspiller.com with your overview for February. We've got some interesting astrology as the month begins. Last month, we began the square between the planets Jupiter and Neptune, and that square will continue through February. The themes of this square have to do a lot with spirituality because both Jupiter and Neptune are planets of spirituality, and they're being expressed through spiritual signs. Jupiter is in Sagittarius and Neptune is in Pisces. Another interesting thing about this astrology is that Jupiter is at home. It's the ruler of Sagittarius. Neptune is also being expressed through the sign it rules, Pisces. This ideally will bring out the best of both of these energies. But because a square is a more challenging angle, I think some of the repercussions of this astrology can be overdoing things. Jupiter has this very expansive energy, and it sort of is overly optimistic at times, especially in Sagittarius. So I think we're all a little bit susceptible to taking on more than we can handle, to being overly idealistic about our commitments and our time, overconfident with our abilities. It's totally okay to admit when you need some help, and it's just going to be harder to naturally do that right away. But keeping it in mind, we'll be able to slow ourselves down before we jump in and say, oh, I can do that. Yes, with Neptune and Pisces, it also brings out the dreamer in all of us. And that can be a good thing. Everyone's creativity is really being stimulated right now, especially if you are a Pisces. However, kind of my catchphrase for Neptune and Pisces and this Jupiter-Neptune square in particular is dream big, but act realistically. So you want to capture all those big ideas. They are to be mined, and then you can sort of refine it and hone down to what is realistic for you to do and start developing a long-term plan. Because I still do like to believe that almost anything is possible, but it doesn't happen overnight. So the planet that's going to help with this long-term planning, especially in February, is Saturn, and it's being expressed through the sign of Capricorn. Guess what? Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn. So we're getting a lot of astrology with these outer planets expressing themselves in signs they're very comfortable with. It's the signs they rule. So Saturn and Capricorn, fortunately, this month is making a favorable sextile to Neptune. What that's going to do is temper some of this overly idealistic thinking I was talking about with the Jupiter-Neptune square. Saturn comes in, it's that voice of reason in your head. It may come through another person, a friend or a teacher, who sort of taps you on the shoulder and says, you know, maybe you need to slow down and take this one step at a time. It's a grounding energy. It's going to encourage step-by-step planning and a methodical approach. So I encourage everybody to really lean into that, even if you don't have any Capricorn in your chart, you're not a Capricorn. Maybe talk to some people you know who are Capricorns and see how they approach their goals. You can learn a lot from that. The other good energies going on this month, let's see, we've got Venus, planet of love, entering the sign of Capricorn on February the 3rd. I personally like Venus expressed through Capricorn because, again, it lends a more down-to-earth practical approach. It can help prevent losing yourself completely, losing your head, falling head over heels. All that is tons of fun, but at the end of the day, if you want something that's sustainable, that will last, Venus in Capricorn will kind of help you get your feet back on the ground a little bit and talk with any current partners or potential partners about what really works for you. I think Venus in Capricorn is also really excellent for financial planning because Venus is the planet of money and finance. So you can harness this energy starting February 3rd all month long and consider the big picture of what you want in either money, love, or both of those areas of life. On the 4th of February, we've got a new moon in the sign of Aquarius. And this is a big deal for anyone who is an Aquarius and has a birthday between the 3rd or the 7th of February. That is your personal new moon, and if those are your birth dates in between the 3rd and the 7th of February, you have a lot of new beginnings ahead. But all Aquarians are going to feel kind of that special energy of their new moon, and everybody can capitalize on this new moon by setting intentions related to Aquarian themes such as friendship, community, helping others through humanitarian efforts, stepping back and accessing the logical part of your brain. Aquarians are really good at extracting themselves from drama and looking at the bigger picture. So if you have some goals related to your bigger hopes and dreams for the future, perhaps learning a new technology, that's an Aquarian theme, making new friends, joining groups, being part of a collaborative effort that's making a difference in the world. The new moon on February 4th is the great time to set intentions in any of those areas. We've got the planet Mars in Aries as the month begins. That's pretty passionate. It's all the way through the 13th, so right before Valentine's Day. I'm kind of relieved a little that Mars will move into Taurus on the 14th. But for the first couple of weeks, people might be a little bit hot-headed. I think this is why it's good that there's some of this Capricorn energy to balance that out. And especially if you are in Aries, I would advise taking a deep breath before responding to situations, because your impulsive nature is really being triggered by this Mars in Aries, and it's so tempting to just shoot back that email or that response right away when you're in a heated conversation. And it usually doesn't serve you well. So what Mars in Aries is good for is exercise. If you haven't gotten going with some of your exercise goal for the new year, the first 2 weeks of February are fantastic. The caveat to that is take things slow, because you can be a little bit more accident prone. And this is for all signs, not just Aries. Mars in Aries is that let's get to it, super pumped up energy where people maybe haven't gone running in years and they try to go out and run 5 miles and maybe take it slow, do some walk a mile, run a mile type of thing. Now on the 14th, Mars moves into Taurus. This is going to be more of an earthy, sensual expression of Mars. It's kind of perfect for Valentine's Day. Whether you're pampering yourself or yourself and a loved one, Taurus is all about chocolates and relaxation and things that taste good and feel good. So you can really lean into that during the second half of February. Now on the 19th, we've got the Virgo full moon. This full moon is really an excellent time to see things come to fruition that you've been sort of chipping away at, maybe even on a daily basis. Virgo is all about getting down to those details and consistency. So keep an eye out for what results you might see, even though you might feel as if you've only been putting in small efforts. If they've been consistent, that Virgo full moon can definitely accentuate and highlight what you've accomplished. On the other hand, the shadow side of Virgo is being critical. Avoid feeling overly critical of yourself or others. If you discover things don't look the way you want them to look right now, it might be very tempting to try to put blame on a situation or make yourself feel inadequate in some way. Instead, turn your mindset to what will be productive. Virgo loves to have tasks and feel that they're accomplishing things. So give yourself a to-do list and don't worry about what didn't get done. Now you can see clearly what does need and just approach it very systematically without attaching blame or emotion to it. So I hope these are helpful tips to navigate February's astrology. If you want to learn more about the astrology going on, I encourage you to subscribe to janspiller.com. I do all kinds of articles and forecasts just especially for our subscribers. And you also get to see your video horoscope every month. So go check it out. And I hope everyone has a great February. I'll see you back here in March with your monthly overview.